Welcome to the More Better blog and podcast, where we explore the notion of how doing more of the things that make us happy leads to a better, fuller life. Today, our episode is titled Tweak 1, The Movement Snack. I am your host, Eleanor Porter. This is the full detail version with a listen time of approximately 10 minutes. For a quick overview, the summary version with a listen time of approximately 3 minutes is also available. Let us begin. We are continuing our journey through the 5 evidence-based lifestyle tweaks highlighted in the recent BBC Future article by Melissa Hogenboom. If you joined us last week, you know that our focus is on small, sustainable micro-habits rather than massive, overwhelming overhauls. Today, we are dissecting the first tweak, the movement snack. To understand why this specific tweak is so powerful, we have to look at how our modern lives have drifted away from our evolutionary design. For most of human history, we were in constant, low-level motion. We walked to find food, we squatted to cook, and we carried heavy things. We rarely sat in chairs for 8 hours at a time. Today, however, the average adult spends more than half of their waking hours in a sedentary state. We sit in the car, we sit at the desk, and we sit on the sofa. You might be thinking, but I go to the gym for 45 minutes every morning. Surely that counts. This is where the science gets fascinating and perhaps a little surprising. Physiologists now distinguish between being active and being sedentary. You can be an active couch potato. That sounds like a contradiction, but it describes someone who exercises for 1 hour but sits for the other 15 hours of the day. The research suggests that 1 hour of exercise, while excellent for your heart and lungs, does not fully cancel out the metabolic damage of the 15 hours of sitting. This brings us to a field of study called inactivity physiology. Researchers in this field have identified a crucial enzyme called lipoprotein lipase, or LPL. You can think of LPL as a gatekeeper for fuel. It resides in your blood vessels and grabs fat molecules from your blood, transporting them into your muscles to be burned as energy. It helps regulate your cholesterol and your blood sugar. Here is the critical finding. LPL is highly sensitive to gravity and muscle contraction. When you sit down, your large leg muscles, the quadriceps and glutes, basically turn off. They stop contracting. Research indicates that beneficial enzyme activity, like that of LPL, begins to decline when muscles are inactive for periods as short as 30 minutes. When that happens, the fat in your bloodstream isn't getting vacuumed up. It starts to circulate and settle, contributing to inflammation and arterial plaque. This is why the movement snack is so revolutionary. A movement snack is not a workout. It is a biological reset button. It is a brief period of activity, typically just 1 or 2 minutes, designed specifically to interrupt that sedentary slide. When you stand up and move, even if you are just pacing around your living room, you force your muscles to contract against gravity. That contraction sends a signal to your genes to start producing LPL again. The vacuum cleaner turns back on. But the benefits go beyond the waistline. They extend directly to the brain. We have spoken before about BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, the protein that acts like fertilizer for your neurons. Prolonged sitting has been associated in studies with thinning in areas of the brain related to memory, such as the medial temporal lobe. When we are sedentary, blood flow to the brain becomes sluggish. A movement snack acts like a pump. It increases cardiac output just enough to send a fresh wave of oxygen and glucose to the brain. This is why you often have your best ideas when you step away from the computer to get a glass of water. It is not just a mental break, it is a physiological refueling. So how do we implement this without it feeling like a chore? A helpful way to think about this is to categorize exercise as a meal, a big chunk of time, and movement snacks as, well, snacks. We need to start treating movement like a snack, small bites throughout the day. Here is a practical protocol you can try this week. First, identify your sedentary anchors. These are the times you know you will be sitting for a long while. Maybe it is during the evening news, or while you are reading the paper, or during a weekly Zoom call. Second, attach a movement snack to a trigger. If you are watching TV, the commercial break is your trigger. Instead of fast-forwarding or checking your phone, stand up, march in place. Do 5 sit-to-stand movements from your chair. If you are reading, use the end of a chapter as your trigger. Put the book down, walk to the window, and stretch your arms overhead. If you are on the phone, make it a rule that you must stand up while talking. The beauty of the movement snack is that the bar for success is incredibly low. You do not need special shoes. You do not need to sweat. You do not need to look good doing it. You just need to interrupt the stillness. A comprehensive review published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine concluded that even sporadic light-intensity activity breaks were beneficial for cardiometabolic health, reinforcing the idea that every minute counts. As we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to leave you with a shift in perspective. We often view movement as a cost, something we have to pay in sweat and effort to get health. I want you to view movement snacks as a release. Your body wants to move. Your joints are lubricated by motion. Your brain is fueled by flow. When you stand up after an hour of sitting, that stiffness you feel is your body asking for a snack. Feed it. Next week, we will move to the second tweak, the protein-first morning. We will explore why your breakfast toast might be sabotaging your memory and how a simple switch in your morning routine can stabilize your energy for the entire day. Until then, set that timer and stand up for your health. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I'm Eleanor Porter. Please join me next week for our next deep dive. Until then, be well.